The title, Jimmy Corrigan, the smartest kid on earth, is a misleading one. It gives readers the impression that it is a story about someone extraordinary, someone otherworldly like a superhero. However, it's really about the opposite. The story of an awkward, timid, middle-aged man named Jimmy Corrigan who meets his father for the first time at 36 years old. We also follow the story of Jimmy's grandfather of the same name. Both of them have trouble communicating with others and finding real, genuine connections. Both struggle with the effects of intergenerational trauma brought on by the absence of one parent, while also navigating an abusive, unhealthy relationship with the other. Within the comic, Ware uses unconventional page layouts and projections of parental figures to explore how abandonment shapes how Jimmy and his grandfather interact with the world. Oscillating between the past and the present, between Jimmy's grandfather and Jimmy himself, Chris Ware crafts a narrative much like an architect designs a building. The two Jimmy Corrigan stories are separated by a large image that takes up an entire page. To borrow from film vocabulary, Ware closes one part of Jimmy's story in a wide shot, situating the characters and their surroundings, and begins the other Jimmy's story on the next page with an establishing shot. The story begins in vast outer space, emphasizing that Jimmy is just a mere human being, one in billions of people on Earth, and is ultimately insignificant in the grand scheme of things. The manifestation of Jimmy's trauma relating to his father's abandonment is projected onto a Superman character that appears in the beginning of the novel, where we are first introduced to a young Jimmy. He meets Superman at the mall, and this actor ends up coming home with Jimmy and his mother and spends the night there. The next morning, the Superman actor quietly leaves the house where Jimmy is once again abandoned by a father figure, albeit a false one. As an adult, when Jimmy is first contacted by his father, he is psychologically hit by how sudden his father comes back into his life through this letter. Jimmy flies out from Chicago to Michigan to finally meet his father. In one of the first moments after he meets his father, he gets hit by a U.S. mail truck. This time, he is literally hit by the very thing that delivered his father's letter. The mailman gets out of the car, but Jimmy imagines him as a Superman, a representation of a father figure. This idea of abandonment also follows Jimmy through the symbol of a deer. This sign pops up in several moments when he is reminded of his father's abandonment. Once after a dream sequence that represents his anxiety about meeting his father, the second time when he is hit by this truck, and once more when he learns that his father was involved in a car accident with a deer, eventually causing his father's death. Jimmy is once again abandoned by his father, except this time permanently. The story of Jimmy's grandfather occasionally interrupts present-day Jimmy's story. Jimmy Corrigan Sr. also shares this trauma of abandonment, first by the death of his mother during childbirth, and then through his father abandoning him at the Chicago World's Fair on his 9th birthday. From the beginning of his life, Jimmy Sr. has this deep, traumatizing guilt that he caused his mother's death. This guilt is intensified through his father's abuse. This family trauma affects the way Jimmy Sr. interacts with others. He is timid. He is awkward. He is afraid to make connections, afraid that abandonment will also manifest in other relationships. Ware begins Jimmy Sr.'s story with an omniscient narrator in cursive print. We are outside of his mind, unable to truly connect with him. Jimmy Sr. isolates and protects himself, even from the readers, just like he does with the people in the diegesis. His only connection is with his horse. However, when Jimmy finally makes a genuine connection with an Italian classmate and his family, their narration shifts from third person to first person. We finally experience Jimmy Sr.'s thoughts and feelings with him, truly understanding his need to connect with others. He sees the love and affection this family has for one another, and he participates in their family activity of crafting miniature clay horses. However, his father catches him with this family and forcefully pulls him back home, losing the only potentially sustainable human connection he has. In this moment, Jimmy screams for maternal protection, even though his mother is dead. He longs for something that he never had and is reminded that his beginning was the direct cause of his mother's end. On the day of his 9th birthday, his father takes him to the Chicago World's Fair as promised as a birthday gift. At the fair, Jimmy Sr. sees the Italian father once again, and this time he is granted the gift of the clay horse, reminding him that he has lost a connection he once had with this family. This moment foreshadows the most traumatizing moment of his life. At the top of the tallest building at the fair, Jimmy Sr. and his father look out into the vast view of the city. Just as he finally forms some type of connection with his father, he turns around and sees that he is no longer there. Waiting for his father's return, Jimmy realizes that he has lost the only family he's had, ultimately fulfilling this prophecy that everyone will abandon him. Although he has experienced this abandonment, Jimmy Sr. does not repeat this cycle in his own family. This reconciliation with abandonment carries on to the present-day Jimmy, where he eventually rekindles his relationship with his father, albeit for a short period of time. Jimmy Corrigan, the smartest kid on Earth, begins and ends the same way, with an imaginary superhero carrying Jimmy off. At the end of the book, Jimmy meets his new coworker, forming a potential genuine connection. The book ends with this same Superman figure, but its meaning changes. After undergoing the trials and tribulations of the two Jimmys, this image of the superhero holding Jimmy means something different. The superhero at the end is no longer a manifestation of an abandoned father figure, but of Jimmy himself. This newly formed relationship at the end of the book is promising, a relationship that could potentially turn into a family. This symbol of the superhero figure carrying Jimmy is Jimmy breaking the cycle of abandonment, creating a new meaning, a new father figure for himself. We empathize with Jimmy, understanding his need to not only break from this cycle of abandonment, but also to truly connect with others.